I had been engaged for 6 months when I started to notice strange things happening in my apartment. Small things. At first, like my jewelry box being slightly open when I knew I had closed it, and my grandmother's ring feeling like it had been moved from its usual spot. I didn't think much of it at the time because I trusted my family, trusted my brother Mark, and never in a million years would have suspected that the person I loved most in the world would steal the most precious thing I owned. My grandmother's wedding ring was the only thing I had left of her, the only tangible memory of the woman who had raised me when my parents were too busy fighting and drinking to care about their children. She had given it to me on her deathbed when I was just 16 years old, pressing the cool gold band into my palm with trembling hands, and she had whispered, "This ring has been in our family for over 100 years, sweetheart. It's been through wars, through poverty, through everything life could throw at us, and it survived. And when you're ready, I want you to give it to someone who will love you the way I loved your grandfather, unconditionally, completely forever." I had worn that ring on a chain around my neck every single day for the past 12 years, never taking it off except when I showered or slept, and it had become a part of me, a symbol of love and resilience and the strength of the women who came before me. My engagement was supposed to be a celebration of that legacy, a continuation of the story that my grandmother had started so many years ago, and I was planning to wear her ring on my wedding day, alongside the engagement ring my fiancé had given me. As a tribute to everything she had taught me about love and family, I woke up one morning and reached for my jewelry box to take out my grandmother's ring. But when I opened the box, my heart stopped because the ring was gone, completely vanished, with no trace of it anywhere in my apartment. I tore the place apart, searching under the bed, in the closet, in my drawers, in every single corner of my apartment, but the ring had disappeared as if it had never existed in the first place. I called my fiancé in a panic, crying and shaking, and he came over immediately to help me search. But after hours of tearing the apartment apart, we couldn't find it anywhere. I was devastated, heartbroken, and completely confused because I had never taken the ring out of the jewelry box and I lived alone, which meant that the only way the ring could have disappeared was if someone had broken into my apartment or if someone I trusted had taken it while I wasn't looking. I called my brother Mark, the only family member I was still close to, and I told him what had happened, crying and begging him to help me figure out where the ring had gone. Mark listened to me cry, and he said, "That's terrible, Sarah. I'll keep an eye out for it. Maybe you just misplaced it and it'll turn up eventually." I thanked him, hung up, and tried to convince myself that he was right, that the ring would turn up, and that I was just being paranoid and dramatic. But something about the way Mark had spoken on the phone felt wrong, like he was hiding something, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he knew more than he was telling me. I didn't want to suspect my own brother of stealing from me, but the thought kept creeping into my mind, nagging at me, and I couldn't ignore it no matter how hard I tried. 2 weeks later, I was at my brother's apartment for a small family dinner, and everything felt normal until I went to the bathroom and noticed something on the kitchen counter that made my blood run cold. A small velvet box, exactly the kind that engagement rings come in, sitting casually next to his keys. I didn't think anything of it at first because Mark had been dating his girlfriend Jessica for over a year and I assumed he was about to propose. But something about the box made me feel uneasy. So I quietly opened it and felt my entire world collapse around me. Inside the box was my grandmother's ring. The same ring that had gone missing from my jewelry box 2 weeks ago. The same ring that I had worn on a chain around my neck for 12 years. And the same ring that my brother had stolen from me without any remorse. I stood there in his kitchen, holding the ring in my hands, feeling a mix of rage and betrayal, in complete disbelief that my own brother would do something so cruel and heartless to me. When Mark came back into the room, I held up the ring and said, "Mark, what is this? Why do you have my ring? Why did you steal from me?" Mark's face went pale, his hands started shaking, and he stammered, I didn't steal it. I found it. I was going to give it back to you, but then I thought it would look beautiful on Jessica, so I decided to keep it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Couldn't process the fact that my brother had stolen my grandmother's ring and was planning to give it to her friend as if it belonged to him. I screamed at him, "It's my ring. It's the only thing I have left of Grandma. How could you do this?" Tima took the ring back from my brother, walked out of his apartment, and didn't speak to him again for 6 months because I was so angry, so hurt, and so devastated by his betrayal that I couldn't even look at him without wanting to scream. My parents took Mark's side, as they always had, and they told me that I was being dramatic and that I should just let it go because Mark was going through a difficult time and needed my support. I refused to let it go, refused to pretend like everything was fine, and refused to forgive my brother for something that was completely unforgivable. 6 months later, Mark proposed to Jessica with a different ring, and I received an invitation to their wedding, which I declined because I couldn't bear to be in the same room as the person who had stolen from me and betrayed me so deeply. But then I had an idea, a way to get my revenge that would be poetic and satisfying and would make Mark realize exactly what he had done and how much he had hurt me. I decided to attend the wedding, not to celebrate, but to reveal the truth to everyone in the most public and humiliating way possible. I wore my grandmother's ring on my hand, let it sparkle and shine in the sunlight, and waited for the perfect moment to expose my brother's theft and his complete lack of remorse for what he had done to me. At the wedding reception, during the toasts and the speeches, I stood up with a glass of champagne in my hand and asked to make a toast to the happy couple. I looked at Mark and Jessica, smiled warmly, and said, "I want to say something to my brother Mark and to his beautiful new wife. I want to tell you all a story about a ring, my grandmother's ring, the one I've been wearing on my hand today." I raised my hand, let the ring catch the light, and continued, "This ring was stolen from my apartment 6 months ago. I was devastated, heartbroken, and I didn't think I would ever see it again. But then I found it in my brother's apartment, in an engagement ring box, because he was planning to give it to Jessica without ever telling her where it came from." The room went completely silent, Jessica's face went white, and Mark started screaming, "Sarah, what are you doing? You're ruining my wedding." I calmly said, "I'm not ruining anything, Mark. I'm telling the truth. You stole from me. You took the only thing I had left of our grandmother, and you are going to lie to your wife about it for the rest of your life. That's who you are, a thief and a liar." Jessica looked at Mark with tears in her eyes and said, "Is this true? Did you steal this ring from your sister?" Mark tried to deny it, but everyone in the room had already heard the truth. And Jessica walked out of the wedding, humiliated and betrayed, leaving Mark standing at the altar completely alone. Mark's wedding was ruined, his relationship with Jessica ended, and my parents stopped speaking to me for several months because I had destroyed the family and humiliated Mark in public. I didn't care because I had done what I needed to do, and I had finally gotten the closure that I had been seeking for so long. Jessica eventually reached out to me, apologizing for the pain that Mark had caused me and thanking me for telling the truth before she made the mistake of marrying a man who was capable of such a terrible betrayal. Mark tried to reach out to me multiple times, leaving voicemails and sending texts, begging me to forgive him and telling me that he had made a terrible mistake and that he regretted everything. But I never responded because I had already given him 2, many chances, and he had proven that he was not capable of being a good brother or a good person. Today, I am happily married to my fiancé, and I wear my grandmother's ring on my finger every single day, a symbol of love and resilience that survived even the deepest betrayal. I haven't spoken to Mark in years, and I don't know if we will ever reconcile because some wounds are too deep and some betrayals are too fundamental to ever be forgiven. I learned from all of this that the best revenge against someone who stole from you and lied to you is to tell the truth, to expose their lies, and to let the world see them for who they really are. It's not about destroying them, it's about protecting yourself and the people you love from someone who is capable of hurting you without any remorse or regret. I am not a victim anymore, I am a survivor. A woman who stood up for herself and refused to let anyone take away what was rightfully hers, no matter who they were or how much they tried to manipulate and gaslight her into silence.